Breathe on me, breath of God, till I am wholly thine. Till all this earthly part of me glows with thy fire divine. And may the words of my mouth and the meditations of all our hearts be holy and acceptable unto you, O God, our rock and our redeemer. Amen. What will the Son of God find when he returns to earth?
I'm sorry.
Guess you're not going out that way, Karen. Go that way, Karen.
Just out that way.
What will the Son of God find when he returns to earth? On Tuesday mornings, my friend taught at a Catholic school, and there was always Mass. The kids got religion. On this particular Tuesday morning, the priest proclaimed, "Pray without ceasing. You should always be in prayer. Pray without ceasing." Well, the kids really got that. So they walked single file back in line quietly as they could and sat at their desks. My friend, the English history teacher, handed out a quiz. And the kids sat there with their heads bowed. "Ma'am, we can't take this quiz. We have to pray. Priest said, pray without ceasing. We can't take this quiz." My friend, being smarter than her students, said, "Oh, you'll be praying all the harder once you start taking this quiz." Pray without ceasing. There was a judge, says the parable, who had contempt for all people, and he cared for no one. And there was a widow who was persistent. Serena Kuchabata and Alec Madasani lived in Kansas City. They worked for Garmin. They were aviation technology specialists. They had their dream job. One night, they went out for drinks after work. A man came into the bar and yelled out, "This isn't your country, go home," and shot them. Ian Grelot also got hurt as he tried to save them. Kuchabatla died. The other two survived. Sunyana Dumala, his wife, had just asked a couple days before, "Do you think it's safe for us to be here in America? Should we go back to India? Do you think it's safe for us to be here?" And now she wanted answers. She wanted to know why someone would kill her husband. She wanted to know why someone would hurt her friend. She wanted the government to tell her why this was happening and why there was gun violence and why anyone in this country had guns to shoot. She wanted answers. Do you blame her for wanting answers? Luke is a gospel that is written for the outsider, that is written for the marginalized. A lot of the Gospels are written to Jewish folk, but Luke is written for the Gentiles, for the outsider, for those who are outside and marginalized. Luke is written for women and children. Luke is written for those who don't seem to fit in, who are looking for answers. The Gospel of Luke is written for those people who don't seem to know where they're going. It goes all the way back to the first chapter where Mary goes through the Magnificat, where the hungry will be fed and the poor will be cared for and the marginalized will be accepted. Do you know that in Luke, it's the one gospel where Jesus prays the most? It's the one gospel where Jesus prays the most. He takes after his mother in praying. And so we have this parable of a woman who is persistent with a judge. And I need this parable. I need this parable so much. Because sometimes it just doesn't seem like enough. You know what? My job is to pray with you. And I do that, but sometimes praying doesn't seem like enough. I want to be in that surgery and be in the scalpel and have that scalpel and be there with you to make sure it's going to turn out all right. Because praying just doesn't seem like enough sometimes. And then I want my prayers to turn out right. I want them to turn out the way I think they should turn out. I want them to turn out the way I think they should be. And I know that God doesn't choose for us to suffer. But sometimes I think God gets it wrong. And so I need this parable. Because this parable isn't about getting it right. This parable isn't about getting it, God doing the right thing. This parable is about persistence. About keeping on. About continuing to pray and pray and pray some more, even when it's hard. This parable is about praying and praying and praying some more, even when you want to give up. Even when it doesn't seem like your prayers are being answered. Even when you want to jump in on the surgery. It's about keeping on. Because I believe that somehow that changes you. It was only a few months ago that my good friend Kim died of cancer. Kim was my age. She had a fast-moving cancer. A cancer that took her life quickly and painfully. She had a daughter who is in her 20s, and she was a minister serving a church. So she had the best prayers praying for her. And at first we said, God, heal her. Come on, God, you can do this. And then we said, God, you're making a bad choice here. What are you doing? Taking away Kim from us, from the church she's serving. God, you're doing this wrong. Ever feel that way when you pray? Yeah. God, you got this all wrong. But then soon our prayers became, God, instead of a miracle, give her pain management. And then our prayers became, instead of more time, take her into your loving arms. It was when she was kind of in and out of consciousness, when the district superintendent, Megan, was visiting with her, when she asked, "Who do you belong?" And Kim said with certainty, "I belong to God." And we knew Kim was okay. And we prayed that her end would come fast. Yes, we were mad. We were mad at God. But then we told God to just take her into his loving arms. We were persistent in our prayers because it was all we could do. It was all we could do. Persistence in praying. It didn't change Kim. It changed us. It changed us. Because as we were praying, we looked into the face of God. And when you look into the face of God, something changes you. It goes all the way back to Exodus. Something changes you. And you see in the face of God your self-image. And you see the image of one another. And you are connected to God. And you are connected to one another. It is a divine connection. A holy connection. Persistence. Praying. It changes you. It changes who you are. It doesn't say give the name of the widow. It doesn't give her name. But I think I could name her. Her name is Sunayana Dumala, the widow who keeps looking for answers. Her name are all the prayers who prayed for Kim. Her name is you, and you, and you, and you, and you, and me. For T.S. Eliot said, we are undefeated as long as we keep trying. Persistence. Pray without ceasing. Pray without ceasing. For who knows? It may be the greatest joy of our lives, the most worthiest act, the greatest blessing. It may cause the spirit of the void to work over our disordered world, to create a new and beautiful world. Pray without ceasing. It will change you. Thanks be to God. Amen.